All right. We are back in Duskwood, part 3 of episode 6. We last left off talking with Jake. We came to the conclusion that we believe the bracelet belonged to Jennifer. Hannah found it in a pawn shop, bought it in remembrance of Jennifer. Iris is Jennifer's mother. Came to the conclusion that Jake, according to what Jake was telling us, does not have any kind of relationship with Hannah, whether that be family, personal, or even um, loving relationship with Hannah. Also, I want to point out and maybe give a couple quick hints and tricks on the last puzzle that I completed to get to this next part in the story. It involved 4 ice blocks, some window panes, and some shields. Now, obviously, just about any puzzle that you do, the power ups are going to be your best friend. But in this case, you want to get those ice blocks taken out as quickly as possible. The longer you let those ice blocks form, and the more that they form, the harder it is going to be to complete that puzzle. So once you get those ice blocks taken out, then you can start working on the window panes and shields. But getting those ice blocks taken out as quick as possible is the best way to go. But without further ado, let's get right back into it. We're going to be talking with Thomas and Cleo. All right. Cleo reached out, says hello, tongue tied. Well, Thomas said right, and then Cleo reached out and said hello, tongue tied. So I'm just gonna say hello right now, and then we'll grill them on the whole Phil thing. Okay, don't even need to. They just saw Phil. Thanks for warning us. We don't have time for drama. I did it for Jessy. You didn't exactly deserve it, or you're welcome. I'm gonna say I did it for Jessy because, well, I ultimately did it for Jess because I didn't really do it for Thomas and Cleo. I'm just gonna let them know I did it for Jessy. Cleo, we wanted to let you in on it much earlier. Yeah, what exactly were they doing? We're so sorry that you had to find out this way. Yeah, seeing it through a security camera. We wanted to tell you we want to tell you everything now. You have my attention. Well, better late than never. I really hope you have my attention now, Thomas and Cleo. Let's see what you guys got to say. The police found a matchbox with the corpse in the forest. Matchbox was from the bar Aurora. Okay. I mean, that doesn't say much, to be honest. I mean, people can walk around with matchboxes all the time, and they could be picked up from anywhere, whether the bar, hotel, restaurant, doesn't matter. So, let's just go, uh-huh. Uh-huh. Continue, Thomas. Someone missing from the group. Who's missing from the group? RICHEY. RICHEY is now on the group. RICHEY. Hey there. Did RICHEY know? RICHEY knew? You knew? Frowny face. Can't believe it. RICHEY is in on it. He didn't even tell us. He was hiding it from us the whole time. Before this all goes down, tongue-tied, how's Jessy? I could calm her down. She's fine. Yeah, she's fine. She needs some peace and quiet. She'll let us know if she needs anything. Sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah. RICHEY says, oh man, I'm so glad. Richie told us about the attack on Jessy earlier. I'm surprised you didn't go to her, Richie. I talked him out of it. Yeah, he let me do it. I talked him out of going to her. And if I'm honest, I was already in front of her door. But back to business. Oh, he was already there, but he never walked in. So you've been told everything? No. They're in a process of telling me. Do you want us to explain to you why we never told you about our investigation against Phil? I mean, I want to know about everything. Not just the investigation on Phil, but everything. Everything that you know we should know. Richie thought if we told you, it would reach Jesse sooner or later. Well, yeah, probably. Me? Was that really me? Of course it was you, Richie. Don't be all like hidden and secretive. We're already suspect on you, Richie. You're already a big sus in all this. That doesn't change anything now. I can keep secrets. I can keep secrets. I know how to keep secrets. Keep secrets all the time from these people. Well, I remember bringing up that we shouldn't ring the alarm bells for every little suspicion we get. Interesting. Yeah, maybe you weren't even wrong. From now on, I want to be informed about everything immediately. I've got to admit, I don't tell you everything either. I want to know what's going on. I need to be informed immediately. Because you never know, we might be able to help in these situations. We could use Jake to help, whatever. But if they're not going to let us know, and then they're going to do something suspicious and get caught, that's not going to look very good on them. At first, it was just a vague suspicion on mine and Richie's end. When I was in Aurora with Phil, he was saying really bad things about Hannah. Right, I do remember that. And Phil had made that threat towards me. So Phil threatened Richie about how he was one of those people who properly deal with wrongful accusations. I remember that, I think. The next day I had the sign on my Raven, or a sign of the Raven on his garage, which kind of pointed at him, if we're being honest. I mean, we're not really sure. We're not sure who that was going to, or who that was done by. I had found out pretty early on that they had found that matchbox with the dead body in the forest. Then I told Cleo, and only Cleo. The suspicion wasn't really big enough yet. But then we also found out that Phil had been closing down the Aurora an hour earlier than usual for some time now. So he's been closing down the bar early. But do we know why he's closing down the bar early? Okay. Okay, Phil told him why. Since Hannah disappeared and the dead body turned up, there's been fewer guests coming. Okay. So, less guests, kind of closing down his, kind of limiting his hours of operation to help save money for the less, for the drop in business. I get that. People don't seem to want to go out anymore with a murderer sneaking around town. That makes sense too. Makes sense. I'm not letting go of this yet. Cleo's still suspicious on it. The way he acted, that matchbox, the threat, no explanation of any of that, or for any of that. Yeah, it all sounds very suspicious. I'm not sure. Richie, I'm especially disappointed in you. The trace of the man without a face is more important. One doesn't exclude the other. And how was Thomas ever involved in any of this? How was he brought up into this? He only ever found out about everything in passing. Had Phil said these things about Hannah, that Alfie suddenly brought in the old legend. You all had your traces and secrets, but I was completely left out. It's true. Our conversation really got me thinking tongue-tied. I never told you to break in any basements. Thomas, you went rebel on that one. In your short time with us, you really managed a whole lot. That's true. Me and Jake, we've done a ton trying to find Hannah, and y'all haven't done diddly squat. You even know who Hannah had been calling before her disappearance. That's when I realized I couldn't hold back anymore. I created a monster. If you want to help, let's make a plan first. That's the biggest thing. We got to make a plan and then execute said plan. You can't just start breaking into people's bars and basements. I'd like to stress that I wasn't involved in the breaking in thing. Richie trying to make it seem like he had, like he wasn't guilty in all this. After our conversation, I was on my way to my mom and suddenly ran into Cleo. And she told me everything. Anyway, we came to a dead end and managed nothing other than getting Thomas and Cleo banned from Aurora. Great, right? It's exactly what happened. That's what you get for excluding me. Plain and simple. I'd like to ask more questions. If anything, it just gives us more information about everything. Did you get into the basement or not? Did you really think you were gonna find Hannah in the basement? How did Phil react when he found out? Let's see if they actually got into the basement, and if they did, what did they find in the basement? They didn't. They didn't even get in the basement. What kind of crap is that? Massive steel door. No can do. Seems like a lot of protection for a basement door. I mean, probably gonna have a lot of stock, cups, product in the basement. Let's see if they really thought they were gonna find Hannah in the basement. I doubt it, but maybe they'd find some clues about Hannah. Right, right. So they didn't really think they're gonna find Hannah, but maybe something that would tell them where she is. Thought we could get in, take a look around, and nobody would notice. You thought wrong, Cleo. But since we got busted, Phil will have all the time in the world to let any evidence disappear. Right, exactly. That's why you should have included me. Cleo's break-ins has never been successful, even when she tried to break into Richie's garage, his impound or whatever, the not impound but the car lot. Yeah, Cleo. Only the ones I know about. How did Phil react when he found out? Let's find that out. I mean, I would assume he was upset. Very angry, yeah, definitely. It was a wonder that he hadn't already called the police. Especially because he said his deadline was yesterday evening. So it was all just threats, maybe? Maybe he doesn't want the police snooping around his basement? I wanted to say that it was probably the attack on Jessy which made him postpone it. Could be. But he couldn't have known about that. Yeah, he couldn't have known about that at that point in time. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I definitely don't think he could have. That's all I wanted to know. So what exactly happened with Jessy? Don't even talk, Richie. You don't know what happened. I think you should probably explain the details, tongue-tied, in the group chat. I mean, I don't even think Dan knows yet. Dan's gonna be pissed. Between Dan and Richie, both of them have like huge crushes on Jessy. With everyone because it's important for everyone. What are you trying to get at, Richie? It always seems like Richie has something. There's always like a motive behind everything he says. Trying to subtly and inconspicuously refer to Lilly. Your war should come to an end soon. So he wasn't even referring to Dan. He was just referring to Lilly. So Lilly should know that Jessy was attacked. Right, so she can post more videos about me and Jake. Probably trying to blame us for her getting attacked. Oh, I don't know. I have a feeling letting her back in is going to be bad. It's not going to turn out good. She's going to blame us for it again. But I don't that's the thing. Like I don't think Lilly is the attacker. But she hasn't helped in anything. All right, let's see what's happened. Let's see what happens when we add Lilly back in. I don't like the fact that Richie's like sticking up for her. What do you think you're doing? I immediately regret my decision. Read, Lilly. Don't talk. No talking, Lilly. You just sit there and read and listen. We. Richie. Richie wanted to. Waiting for Dan to get online. There he is. He's gonna send us that Crowman comic. If you can even call this stuff food. So he might still be in the hospital, I guess. He hasn't gotten out of the hospital yet. Yeah, you're gonna lose your appetite anyways. Jessie was attacked last night. She was on her way home. I was on the phone with her. She was outside in the dark alone. I mean, she's in shock a little bit, I think. I'm not going to tell him that she has these injuries because that's going to make it seem worse than it actually is. Dan, don't even think about leaving the hospital. Yeah, but we all need to stay calm. I'm waiting for Lilly to chime in. Yep, there she is. I told you so. But you wouldn't listen. Of course. Could you maybe not, Lilly? Dan's got our back. There's no point in saying it again and again. Can you tell us more about the attacker tongue-tied? You saw him too, right? Yeah, I did see him. But I don't know if it was a man or not. I mean, definitely was a bigger, it seemed like it may be a bigger build. But definitely a man. Could tell by his stature. I'm sure about it. The way he moved leaves no doubt. The way he was moving in the background, going side to side, just kind of sneaking up on her. Maybe. But his stature was more telling. He just had a bigger build stature. And he was wearing a mask. He looked right at me. He still wants to get rid of me, that's for sure. That's the big thing. We don't want the group thinking that he's attacking everybody to get back at me. We want the group knowing or understanding that we're the best way of getting the attacker. Like, we're the best way of catching that attacker, and they need to get rid of me. That's the big thing. We want the group to understand that they can't get rid of me. That's what the attacker wants. And once they get rid of me, then the attacker's going to have free reign. Yeah. I don't want to say the next attack's going to be deadly. Not in the group. I don't want the group to get that damn scared. Here goes Lilly. Do you realize in how much danger we all are? He will hurt all of us. You were basically begging for it. That's the thing, though. Lilly's still trying to get me kicked from a group, but I'm the best chance they have at catching this guy. Yeah, there's no going back. Our only remaining option is to finally get him. That's right. That's right, Cleo. We can do it. I know we can. Tongue-tied is working on something there. Oh, tongue-tied is? Question mark? I'm just going to say yes, I am. Definitely always working on something. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it in front of the others. Let's just see what he has to say. Oh, that's right. Okay, so he's just gonna drop that bomb on everybody. He thought that would probably help us, and we might be happy to hear it. We already know that, Richie. Dan didn't know. That's because Dan was in the hospital. Just only wanted to lift your spirits. Well, then, take care, everyone. In private, Thomas. What do you want to tell me? It's about the bracelet, Thomas. Hannah bought it herself at a pawn shop. So it definitely wasn't a gift. That's it? Thanks? That's all you gotta say? Couldn't say anything else? Couldn't say anything more? Alright, guys, we're gonna end it there. Again, if you guys are enjoying this series, definitely hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on that bell in case we decide to go live stream. That way you guys can get notified anytime I start a live stream, or anytime that I post in the community, or anytime that I drop a new video. You can see here that Lilly is starting to be back into the group. We're talking to her again. She's still her happy-go-lucky self. Still trying to accuse us, still trying to make us out to be the villain, but I think it was important to get her back into the story. I think it's important to get her back into the group just to see what she has to say, because she's still suspicious. I don't think she's the attacker. I don't think she has anything to do with it, but she's so suspicious, and she just acts not the way you would think somebody would act in that situation. But anyways, as always, thanks for watching. Love you all. Take care. Goodbye.